Hey guys, it's Warren here again with Copeland Small Engine Repair. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a tool I've got for a while now. I've been trying to find the perfect tool to use on small engines. I'm talking like push mowers and tillers and generators and the smaller things I work on in the shop on the workbench. And I just couldn't find anything that I was happy with. Got kind of tired of ratchets, and I'm kind of easing over into, turning everything into battery powered tools, which I kind of stayed away from for a long time, but now they've got to a point where, I don't mind using them. The first time, back when battery powered tools came out, I went and got a big set of them, and I was disappointed. The batteries didn't last long. I just didn't like them, but this was years ago. But battery powered tools have come a long way, and I've come to appreciate battery powered tools more often now. And still, for grinders, handheld grinders, I prefer plug-in tools, and for heat guns, my grinder and my heat gun are still plug-in. And I still use air impact wrenches and air ratchets, but I'll be switching over to battery powered impacts and air ratchets later. But mainly my focus to start with was on working on handheld stuff and smaller things like generators and push mowers. And I wanted something that was strong enough to do the job, but just barely. I wanted something that didn't have a lot of torque. Usually you're like, I want the strongest thing I can get. Well, when you're working on push mowers and small generators and tillers and small things, you don't want the strongest thing you can get. Now I know you can control, the torque with the trigger and what you're doing, but I wanted something as weak as I could get it, but still strong enough to do any job I needed it to do on small stuff like that. And for handheld stuff, zipping those screws out of plastic, you don't want too much torque or you'll strip those plastic threads out. The first thing I bought was a little Bauer battery-powered screwdriver, and it worked. It was almost good enough, and it just didn't have the oomph that I needed to get the job done. So then I switched over to basically the Hercules brand. I love Hercules from Harbor Freight. Now, I'm not a fanboy of Hercules, so these tools I'm talking about, don't think I'm saying, hey, you got to go buy it from Milwaukee or DeWalt or Ryobi, whoever the hell you like to buy tools from. Feel free. I'm not going to be on here going, hey, Harbor Freight's the best tools in the world. I buy from Harbor Freight because I'm poor. But the level of quality in the Hercules line is really blowing me away. And if you watch Project Farm and the Torque Test channel and the other channels on YouTube that test all this crap, you'll see that, they're not bad. And but next one I bought was this Hercules. They call it basically an electric screwdriver, just a bigger one. It's the 12 volt. And it's got a clutch on it, which was nice. Which this works really good for handheld stuff, weed eaters and chainsaws and things like that. But every now and then, it doesn't have the oomph I need to take something out. It's plenty strong enough to put it together, but sometimes it won't take it apart. So for handheld stuff like weed eaters and blowers and chainsaws, it's not bad at all. It's nice. But for the push mowers and generators and tillers and the smaller things I get in here that have mainly 7/16, 3/8, 10 millimeter bolts, things like that, I wanted something a little bit stronger, but not too strong. I didn't have to worry about, feathering that trigger all the time to make sure I didn't strip something off or snap off the head of a bolt. And a friend of mine that has a 1/4 inch impact wrench, he loaned that to me, and he let me use it for like a few weeks. And it wasn't bad. It was a tiny bit stronger than I wanted. So I kept looking and researching and reading reviews for everything, and I finally found, I started looking at the Hercules, or whatever brand you like. I started looking at 1/4 inch hex drive impact drivers, and these things are they're right there. They're right there in the level that I wanted in torque and power, but not too much and not too little. And they're impact, so they break stuff loose. They have a variable speed trigger, which is awesome. So I went and got the Hercules. This is a Harbor Freight product, and this is the Hercules. This is the 12 volt 1/4 inch hex drive impact driver. And it's got the little collar you pull out. Let me pull this off. You can pull the collar out and take the little bits out of it. And it's just got the little hex drive on it. And it's real easy to quick change these things out. Just put it in there and pull the collar out and it's on there. But I like these because, see, I've got a 1/4 inch socket adapter on there. So I can stick a 1/4 inch drive socket on there. And you can take this, you can get bits for these things. You can get, let me see what I got over here. You can get Torx bits, Phillips heads bits, flat blade bits. I mean, you can get every bit on the planet to fit in these things. But I like it for putting this little 1/4 inch socket adapter in there. And it's just strong enough to do everything I need, but it's not too much. Another thing I like is the variable speed trigger. I mean, look how slow I can get this thing to go. Just slow as hell. And it goes extremely fast when you need it to. And everywhere in between. And another thing I like is it doesn't impact, the impact doesn't start until it has to. See, it's not impacting right now. It's just real smooth, but if it feels resistance, it'll start impacting. And it's strong as hell. And when I'm putting together engines for, you know, mainly I'm talking about putting carburetors on and taking carburetors off and taking gas tanks off of generators and, you know, all the little things on a tiller and all those kinds of things. I'm not taking whole engines apart and putting rods and crankshafts in them. I'm just doing all the outside work on engines with this thing. And it's just strong enough for that. And I've noticed when you put the bolts and screws and nuts on these things, as I go in, as soon as I hear it impact, I'm tight enough. You know, I'll let it impact, click 3 or 4 times, maybe, you know, 1 or 2 times, and I'm done. I know that bolt's tight enough. First thing I did when I got it was put a whole bunch of bolts in, let it click 1 or 2 times, and then break them loose by hand to make sure it was putting the torque on these things I wanted. And it's just perfect. It goes in, it runs everything up real quick. As soon as I hear it impact 2 or 3 times, I stop, and I'm done. I mean, it's just perfect. It's perfect for what I need. The reason I'm making this video is I couldn't find much online. I found a ton of videos of people unboxing these things and showing you the features of them, but I couldn't find anybody actually using the thing on video and talking about how well it did on small things. I found one guy's video, I wish I could remember his name, but I subscribed to his channel just because his was the only one I could find. He's a mechanic that works in the shop every day, and he uses one of these, this exact tool. And he bought it for the same reason I did. He wanted something for the smaller fasteners that wasn't too strong or too weak, and he highly recommended this. And I couldn't find much about this on YouTube videos, about how well it worked. Another thing I couldn't find was, does it impact in reverse, which I'm sure it did, but I wanted to see that. But it does impact in reverse and forward. It's just real nice that it doesn't impact until it has to. And when it does impact, it doesn't just snap the head of the bolt off. You know, you can stop after a couple of clicks, and I know that carburetor's tight enough, it's not going to leak air, everything's perfect. But that's why I'm making this video. If you're a small engine mechanic and you're working on just small things on a workbench, push mowers and generators and tillers and just the smaller things, and you're talking about 10 millimeter and 3/8 and 7/16 bolts, and you know, bolts that small, and you're just talking about taking stuff off, putting it back on. This thing is just awesome. It's real compact, and the batteries on these things, man, I charged the battery on this. I've had this thing for, I don't know, a year or two. I've had this thing for what seemed like forever, and I hardly ever charge the battery on this thing. The battery lasts forever on this damn thing. It's amazing how long it lasts. And when I do charge the battery, I don't even need it. I just think, oh, I better charge the battery, you know, but it's been a while. But they hold a charge forever. The batteries on these things are awesome. And the affordability of the Hercules line is, I mean, this thing was $40. That's tool only. That's not with the battery. The battery's like $35. And I always get the biggest battery. This is the 4-amp battery for these things. I probably don't even need it, but I like that extra, you know, amperage in the battery. But that's just my video, just in case you're out there looking for something to use like this and you're wondering. I couldn't find any videos that actually explain much about this. You know, they're unboxing, which, you know, take the damn thing out of the box and throw the box away and get on with your life. You don't have to make a 20-minute video of taking something out of a box. But I highly recommend this tool, the tool. I don't care if you don't like Harbor Freight, get DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, Craftsman, whatever tool you want. But a it's a 1/4 inch hex drive impact driver, and it's just perfect for what I'm doing in here. I will be getting I'll probably go ahead and get like a little 3/8 impact. I'm sure I'm going to get a 1/2 inch impact. I'll probably get a 1/2 inch impact that's about mid-range from Hercules, and I'll probably get that monster ultra torque, that monster impact from them, but that thing's a beast. But anyway, that's all I got for you today. I got to get to work on a few little things I got around here. Catch me later.